Let's do it this way. How about now? Can you hear me? I feel like there should be audio now. Should have audio. Testing. I think we should have audio. Fun little show for us tonight. This is going to be all about white wine. It's winter whites. It's most people are white wine winter time. Yes, you can drink white wine in the winter time, and we're going to show you that you can do it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, we have a lot going on that I want to talk about. We're going to go over here to take TC off the screen for a second. Oh, why is it not there? Why is it not there? Now it's not showing up. Why is it not?
Lots of buttons. Lots going on here.
Lots of buttons. See, I tried to do something different because Tanya was yelling at me, and now it's not doing.
Because you just are always looking at a computer.
Well, because someone's got to be the technical guy on the show, and I try to be the technical guy. So guess what? We'll just do it with the banner until I can figure out how to get this up. But there we go. TC's back in the picture. We'll let TC hang out. But we'll do this with a banner. Good thing I made a banner here for this. Tonight, we have 20% off if you use Winter 20 on the white wines. So that's
so everything tonight, plus in the shop.
Plus in the shop. So be sure to click through the Virtual Vines area because I know there's a lot of white wines in there, as well as throughout the white wine section. And then also feel free to shop the shop. As long as it's to go, I'll offer the 20%.
That's not for a case or
it's anything. Anything. So
I'm just curious, right? Just want to throw those in the.
You want to try
the shop that you already know about.
Try it out. There it is. See, there's my.
Look at that.
There. I clicked the wrong thing. So there it is. There's sale, winter white sale, 20%. You're going to use coupon code winter20 at checkout. Also, we have to talk about the Rombauer tasting coming up this Thursday night. You get 5 2-ounce pours. Come and pick up the wine will be ready for you to pick up by 2:00. We'll give you the Zoom link at 7:30 that night. Join TC, myself, Charlotte Devers from Rombauer, and we're going to talk about the wines and the winery. And we're going to have some. Guess what? The sale on the white wines runs through Thursday. So the Chardonnay and the Sauvignon Blanc will also be on sale. So you'll be able to take advantage of those wines as well.
I mean, let's face it, some of you already know the Chardonnay, love the Chardonnay. You might as well go ahead and jump on it while you get that discount, right?
Yeah. You might as well hop on it. So those are a couple things we want to talk about really quick. Now let's bring TC back. TC Frazier, back to the camera, back on screen.
Camera.
You have your own camera.
My goodness. I mean, I've arrived.
I've
now.
Yes. You've arrived. So you got your own camera, and you can take over the show somewhat. But yeah, winter whites. So folks, we had this idea several weeks ago, and it came off the fact that we knew that white wines with certain meals go really, really well. Mm-hmm. And I feel like just looking at our sale, like people aren't taking advantage of these white wines to drink with some of this weather. And so TC and I had a long conversation. We figured it out. We picked some wines that we felt were going to showcase very well with the winter, but also you take advantage of any white wine that you wanted to drink at the time. So we're going to start off with a lovely, lovely Verdicchio.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, I'll almost turn that conversation on its head. The same thing in the summertime, because in the summertime, it's all about white wine and rosés and things like that. And I tell people, I'm like, yeah, it's hot outside, but guess what? Air conditioning, which is you're probably spending more time in. And at some point of the night, whenever you have the steak done, you go inside and have red wine, and it's July. Well, guess what? White wine in the wintertime, yes, it's cold outside, but how often are you standing outside in the freezing rain drinking any kind of wine, right? So once you're inside, you probably already have the fire going. It's already warm. Actually, you probably need something to chill you down a little bit. I'm a more nature guy. And again, as Danny said, I get it. If you're like me, I have a whole slew of reds that I tend to. I'll get to, but the white wines in my house never last. We just, probably more often than not, I'm drinking white wines on more of a daily average basis because they're just so drinkable. They're so friendly. You keep them in the fridge for, 3 or 4 extra days, use them.
You don't really need anybody to drink them with
you. Don't need to drink them with you, deglaze them in a pan, and so, we wanted to. Yeah, exactly right. And so we wanted to have some wines tonight that, we're not putting a lot of makeup on. So none of these wines that we're doing tonight have any malolactic fermentation. All but one, all see essentially stainless steel fermentation. The one that sees a little bit is neutral oak barrels. So really no new oak, which is to say your oaky, buttery style wine. I mean, we could have threw you a buttery, creamy Chardonnay, but that's just too easy. I mean, we want to kind of delve into the book, find a couple gems, maybe, one a Sauv Blanc. Oh, look at I'm already stuff on it. Yeah, exactly right. A Sauv Blanc.
He barely had a sip. He barely had a sip.
Yeah, I think that's what
How
that is the
how
problem.
did this work? Holy moly!
Have a sip of wine. But guys, I mean, but white wine, again, this is something, I just, it's like people that say they only drink sparkling wine for New Year's or their birthday, or people that only drink rosé at certain, it's like, guys, not only do you, but now you can find some fantastic wines out there around the globe. So, you guys love Italy. I mean, we're going back to Italy. We're going back to the boot. We can keep going back to the boot. I mean, it's like giving the ball to Walter Payton circa 85. I mean, it's going to give you 3.5 yards, and you do that 3 times, it's going to get the first down, right? So I feel like, Italy does it. So we're going to do tonight a little area just north of the Trebbiano, which we did a few weeks ago, and a little area called Le Marche. And Le Marche is an area on the Adriatic side, which doesn't see as much kind of commercial play. I mean, everyone wants to go to the Amalfi Coast and go to Naples and Rome, which is all on the other side of the country. But if you look on the eastern side, essentially this region is flanked. Oh yeah, there you go.
Well, so everybody can see.
I love that map. So you basically have Emilia Romagna just up top. Oh, perfect. Yeah,
Vanna or prices.
And you have sort of the bread food basket essentially of balsamic vinegars and Parmesan just to the north, and then you have Abruzzo to the south of there, which we've done Montepulcianos and Trebbianos and things like that. But Le Marche is just one of these areas, much like Italy. When you go to these tucked away provinces, they're kind of a beast unto themselves. It's kind of like throw everything that you thought you knew about Italian wines, because more often than not, and what they do here are very specific varietals, more so Verdicchio. So I've seen a smattering of Verdicchio in a few areas that have what they call IGT status. They won't have DOC status, but there's an area specifically in the Marche which is known for some of the best. There's always got to be the best, right? Always got to be the best. And guys, where are we going to bring you? Got to bring you the best, right? Who said you wanted the best? You get the best. Was that Kiss? Was that Kiss that said that? Yeah,
Kiss. Yeah,
Kiss that said that. You wanted the best. We're going to bring you the best. So Vanna, if you can show that bottle, and even smaller print below Verdicchio is this is the little appellation, is the Castello di Gesti.
It's a little whitewash.
A little whitewash. Yeah. Can we back up a little bit?
It might be better off showing on your camera.
Perfect. Okay, so again, it's nothing that we necessarily commit to memory, but the reason I want to point that out, guys, if and when you find yourself not only in Italy drinking Verdicchio, or just finding yourself drinking at the coolest wine shop in town, you can find some great, other than grapes, this is a great wine from the area that, again, it's just kind of known to be some of the best Verdicchio. This particular winery, kind of break down the word, and you can kind of see it. So for those of you that love Kermit Lynch out there, I know there's some Kermit disciples already, but this is a beautiful Verdicchio, again, from not only the appellation in which you want it, but from one of the highest hillsides, which I know we've talked about at nauseum. So I know Vanna's sold. What do you think about it over here? I think Danny's blown away. He's like, I need to be drinking more Verdicchio. Why am I not drinking more Verdicchio?
Excellent. And one of the things I wanted to show everybody up on the screen here is kind of a pasta pairing, you know, and add a little, you know, like vegetable into that pasta pairing. It's heavier. It's because that's the time you want heavier foods, but sometimes heavier food does not mean you have to have red wine. You can do a heavier pasta, mix in some vegetables, and you'll really, 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 really have an excellent meal. And with this wine,
I'm thinking like a pesto gnocchi or something like that. You can have that
pesto gnocchi, and
you know,
add some.
I mean, you could even have like a little red sauce, brighten it up, throw this in there. And I love how Danny shows you guys the grapes. Verdicchio, for those of you that are playing the home game, you can break down the words here. Verde, that's for prefix of the word, is green. So kind of a double entendre of the wine is that not only on the vine, the grapes are very, very green, like you can see right there, but they also try to bottle the wine not only young and fresh. When you first open it, I don't know if you guys noticed it, it has a little bit of CO2, a little bit of trapped CO2. So not to say this is a sparkling wine, but think of like almost like a Vino Verde. So for you guys out there, when you first open it, it's just enough to kind of make you kind of wonder, what was that? And pour you a second glass. But
I like it.
It's really, really nice. And again, it's not, it's light and refreshing, but it is not something that
it lingers.
It lingers. It has a lingering finish that was refreshing. But again, imagine with some food that it would just be beautiful wine to have during the winter. And at a price point of normally a 20, marked down to 18. Plus 20% off tonight. I can't get it. I mean, I'm giving you the wine away. I'm giving it away.
Guys, check the internet, guys. We were able to, just like anything permanently, we were able to procure just a small amount of this wine. I think we should be getting a shipment in the springtime, which I'm sure will be the 2020 vintage, because again, we keep it fresh and young. Danny, always we check vintage, or not only vintage, but how much we have of each wine before the show. One of the wines we'll talk a little bit more about, we have not a lot of, but this is a wine that we have some, but of the 6 or 7 cases I think I have of that, guys, it'll be until 2020 lands, probably in a couple months. So again, go over to loadedgrape.com. Be sure to use winner20 as your as you check out. That's the coupon code. That'll get you 20% off all the whites tonight and throughout the rest of until Thursday. Thursday, that's when the sale will end. And now we're going to move on to a little project that I'm kind of excited about. This was something we were going to use for something that didn't come to fruition, but I'm glad we're able to use it tonight. It's from Cliff Lede. This is their Napa Valley Sauvignon Blanc. This is one in if the rodeos or Melissa Cato's watching. Called Gene and Debbie right now. This is going to be their wine. And Gene and Debbie, if you're watching, throw a comment so we know that you're watching. But you're gonna love this. Is California Sauvignon Blanc. This is a lot of fun. Beautiful, elegant, and if you guys, the Cade Sauvignon Blanc lovers, the Honig Reserve Sauvignon Blanc lovers. I know we did Hourglass not too long ago. That's a beautiful one. But this is a really fun story, guys. It's a fun wine, and I'm hoping we'll get the winemaker on at some point. Does one step further than that, makes all us guys look bad, and he actually buys her a vineyard to plant grapes in which to make sparkling wine in 1971 in Stag's Leap, which is, as you can see there, that dark purple, one of the smallest, if not the smallest, sub-AVA of all of Napa Valley. It's like, about 3 miles long, about a mile wide, not very big at all. And speaking of which, Carol, just a fun fact, when she moved there, she was 40, got so into wine, went to UC Davis 2 years later, started making wine, and became one of the first female winemakers in all of Napa Valley, which is kind of cool. Fast forward to the late 90s, Cliff Lede, who is the gentleman's name, him and his brother are very successful. As a matter of fact, I believe they own the second or third largest or most successful construction company in all of Canada, not a province, but all of Canada. So very well for themselves. And Cliff, on a business trip in the late 90s, went out to Napa Valley and fell in love with it, like most of us do. But unlike most of us, had the means to see if he could, purchase a little piece of property. So as Cliff says, as you drive up and down Napa Valley, there's no for sale sign. So it took them 2 years finding a place. And then even when they found the place, it took them 6 months of negotiation to secure the land. And in 2002, they bought Cliff Lede Vineyards. A couple cool facts about this particular one. They wanted to make A++ wine. I mean, literally the 1% of 1% of wines. Cliff Lede himself is an avid Bordeaux lover. He's been collecting first growth Bordeaux since he was 28. I got a chance to visit the winery some years back, and quite frankly, one of the most stunning first growth Bordeaux selections I've ever seen. Because, I mean, he's probably in his 60s now, so we're talking 30 plus years of first growth collection. So hired David Abreu, which is literally sort of like the Michael Jordan, LeBron James of viniculturists, to farm your vineyards. And as a matter of fact, since then he's replanted about 70% of their vineyards. He has Michel Rolland consult, as well as Philippe Melka of the past couple of years. So you talk about two of the top Bordeaux consultants really in the entire world. I mean, these guys kind of write their own check. People say, please, you can consult my wine. And I think Philippe Melka does about 16 wines in Napa Valley. And I mentioned David Abreu earlier, talking like Harlan, Colgan, Bond. I mean, some of the most expensive wines out there. Well, what's really cool about this wine is that, as I mentioned, they're a Bordeaux-driven house, Cabernet-driven. There's a high-end called Poetry, which is a sort of the 3% of all wines they make. But this is a very beautiful, very elegant representation, as Danny said, not only of California, but of Napa Valley Sauvignon Blanc. But this is the smallest case production of everything they make. And the reason they wanted to do it, first of all, Cliff is a huge Bordeaux lover. And in Bordeaux, the noble grape is Sauvignon Blanc, but often blended with Semillon. So with Cliff, they wanted to make a wine. Really, their hallmark of their reds are the fruit and tannin to be linear for like 25, 30 seconds. Because he says, hey, you go to Napa Valley, some wines are super tannic, some wines are super fruity or jammy, but you really have few wines that kind of can run that linear progression both way through. And they really wanted to have that with their Sauvignon Blanc. So this is about 88, 85% given the vintage of Sauvignon Blanc, and about 10 to 12% Semillon, and about 2% of Sauvignon Vert, which is a very interesting, very ancient Bordeaux varietal they use for blending purposes as well. And as I mentioned, there's no malolactic fermentation, but they do age a little bit of the wine in neutral barrels. And the reason being is because, Sauvignon Blanc by itself has this big, bright, natural, almost kind of lip puckering acidity. So those barrels, much like sandpaper, it kind of smooths out the edges a little bit. Kind of think about whenever you're cooking something very rich, chefs will often squeeze a little bit of lemon in the dish right before it's finished to kind of brighten it up and add some acidity. So kind of the same thing with this one. What I love about Cliff, I've had a chance to meet Cliff, this guy, and I'm a huge classic rock fan. He is a huge classic rock fan. So when he bought the vineyard, he would sit there with these wine legends, David Abreu and Michel Rolland, and they would talk about lot this, row this, clone that, and it was wine speak. They understood that, and he goes, wait a minute, I own this stuff, and I have no idea what the hell you guys are saying. So what he did was, over about the course of a few years, he renamed about 65 different plot parcels of the 40 acres after either album covers or songs of classic rock, so like Ziggy Stardust. There's a Dark Side of the Moon. There's like a Stairway to Heaven block, you know.
Yeah.
So he literally, when he's sitting there tasting, he can think, oh, like Stairway to Heaven block, and he can wrap him. He's like, I can't wrap my head around block 45, but I can wrap my head around what Stairway to Heaven's like. You know, I'm like, oh, okay, this is Stairway to Heaven. We're trying that today, you know. And he's an avid art lover and collector. So if you ever get a chance to go to the property, you see the picture of the Poetry Inn, which is a beautiful, luxurious five-room inn. And again, if you guys, and I'll just go ahead and say, if you buy a little bit of Cliff Lede tonight, I'll just say, hey guys, they're coming out there. They bought some Cliff Lede, hook them up at least with a couple glasses of wine, if nothing else. But again, known for their red wines. The Poetry, as I mentioned, goes for about $250, $300 a bottle retail. So most of their wines, again, they're going for that 1% of 1% of wines. Because if you think about it, again, Cliff, having the deep pockets, you know, he it's not a side project. He kind of went all in. He can build it. He can build it beautifully, as you can see. I mean, look how beautiful that looks, by the way. But it is, I mean, but he just didn't want to make a second-rate, second-tier wine. And frankly, Napa Valley, they don't do that. I mean, that's one thing that we talked about on the show, that Napa Valley probably does more pound for pound than anybody else. One, because it's so damn expensive to go out there. But two, it's like your persona. I mean, it's like being you know, in New York in restaurants. I mean, it's like, you know, to own a Thai restaurant in Greensboro. I mean, no offense to Thai restaurants, we have some great ones, but you got to step up your game in New York, right? I mean, you can't just be an average everyday Joe Schmo. You got to have a shtick, you know. I mean, hell, I think in New York you can do what Cheeto, like Flamin' Hot Cheetos. That's a business model.
That's a business model.
So again, in Napa Valley,
watched a show that I can't think of the name of it, and I need to go back and find it. It was so good, but it was about boutique hotels in New York and how, you know, they have to have something special. So they had this couple that comes in and does like extreme like makeovers on like one room in the hotel, and they made them a sushi bar on like the 11th floor of the hotel.
Yeah,
it was like so random. And so then of course they got the most top rated sushi guy like to make the sushi, so everybody was like being
of course, I
want to go stay there. I thought that was so cool.
Well, you know, and again, Cliff Lede, who, again, as I mentioned, Philippe Melka, Michelle Roland, David Abreu, all are consultants, and I call them the great pushers. But the guy that's there on a day-to-day basis is a gentleman, as Danny I talked about, we want to get him on the show, who just married Katie Bunshu, which is a virtual Vines veteran, I can say. And
she's been on.
I'll go and say, if we ever get those shirts made, we got to send her one out, because, you know, the care package. And, you know, shout out if you guys are drinking any Gun Bun or need any Gun Bun. By the way, Gun Bun Gewürztraminer or Chardonnay. I don't know if you have any in the shop. If you guys need some, let them know. Get some discounts.
You get discounts.
Shout out to those guys as well.
I love them.
So let's talk about the wine. So this wine, again, guys, if you're kind of going, guys, you said winter white Sauvignon Blanc. You know, I'm thinking about sitting on the beach with a Mai Tai, like ceviche with Sauvignon Blanc. And I get it. Your Marlboro Sauvignon Blancs, even like the entry-level Honig Sauvignon Blanc is like that. But this is like that reserve tier Honig, right? This is, I'm calling on you, not only you Chardonnay lovers, but people that go, okay, you know, I like Sauvignon Blanc, but sometimes it's just way too grapefruity, guys. This is not grapefruit.
A little bit meatier.
Yeah, much more meatier. It has more of this, like, not only the lemon and the kiwi, but it almost has like this, like, kind of curdish, kind of like lemon curdish kind of a thing, you know, going on to it. And that Semillon gives it the richness.
It has a different nose on it too. I wouldn't actually know this is a Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah,
if I didn't know.
Totally blind. Yeah, you wouldn't want blind.
Looking at the bottle, and I was like smelling it, and I was like, this is not what I was expecting.
You would totally throw your friends off, throw them a glass of this, and they will probably get just about every varietal other than Sauvignon Blanc, honestly.
They would probably, yes, but it's very nice. It's very crisp. It's probably, I mean, one of the top Sauvignon Blancs that I've had that's not out of France.
Well, in Napa Valley, guys, I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it. I know I sell it, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But if you added all the, let's just go ahead and say, Sauvignon Blancs that sell for over $20 to $25 in Napa Valley, Cliff Lede is really one of amongst the top 5 or 6 of the reserve tier Napa Valley Sauvignon Blancs in the playground that does red wine. I mean, so hey, you need a white wine to start the dinner off. So when Cliff, when they can and used to and will tour the market again, this is the wine that they will greet you when you walk in the door, and you know eventually they'll get you all warmed up with some Cabernet. But they want to have a beautiful Sauvignon Blanc that doesn't kind of go way off on grapefruit jungle land, and then all of a sudden brings you back to this kind of earthy, meaty, big bold cab. I mean, this is something that kind of gets you right off and goes, all right, wow, this is sophisticated. It's got layers. It's meaty. I think that's what Van said. It's got
much
this
meatier than a normal Sauvignon.
Yeah.
And again, a winter whites. This is a winter white. At this level of Sauvignon Blanc, this is a winter white. This is a wine that can hold up to some bigger food.
Can age as well.
Can age as well.
Yeah.
And then here comes where I come with the bad news. We got 16 bottles.
Oh.
Right.
No, that was the Davis family.
Oh, sorry, that's the last one.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got
this one.
We have more of
about
this one.
3 or 4
Never mind.
cases, yeah.
All right. So just so you know, when we get to the last one, we only have 16 bottles. So we'll get to.
How about this? I'll go ahead and say this right now. If anyone watching the show and text people that if anyone buys 16 bottles, I'll give you the 17th free.
Oh, there you go. So there you go. If you buy 16 bottles, TC's throwing in the 17th
Right now,
bottle.
I'm saying it right now.
Get it done. Get it done. And you're getting 20% off on that. So TC's like, I'm getting a deal.
You better get, I mean, I don't know, but that Verdicchio went right to my head. I don't know what it was.
I don't know.
You're like, TC, we didn't discuss this, but hey, guys.
Wow.
If you know somebody and you want to do, whatever, half and half, 8 and 8, I'll throw in the. We'll call it a loaded break baker's dozen.
Yeah. There you go. So there you go. There you have it. But this this wine definitely retails at a higher price. You're getting a great deal with 20% off. I think they get you under 30. It's ridiculously high on the website. So just know that you're definitely saving yourself some money tonight on this wine. And no, TC did spill some water on it. It's still wine on himself already. So
I can't blame it on Danny. I mean, usually, sometimes it's Danny. It's going to be one of us. I mean, someone's going to spill it. If someone doesn't spill something, it's not a good show, right?
Already with something.
And it shows that nothing gets knocked over. Every now and then, a dog will manage to come in and knock it. So hey, I mean, something. We'll knock something over before.
We will. We'll definitely knock something over.
Got it out early and we'll get
I will say this. I know Barb's asking what everybody's drinking. She's saying that she's drinking the 12 Nights, and
nice.
I'm so glad you brought that up because
I
gotta tell you that Barb, next week we're doing Virtual Vines. It's Portuguese wine, so we're gonna do all wines from Portugal. That 12 Nights was from Portugal.
Vasco da Gama wine.
Yeah.
Right?
So so we're gonna have a lot of fun with Portugal next week on Virtual Vines. It looks like the Rodeos are drinking the box peak pool that we have in the Lapita Frog. And great deal on that box as well for 4 bottles for $40. I mean, that's a pretty good deal on a nice box wine. So definitely come in and take advantage of that one. So yeah, let us know what you're drinking and you're joining with us. And the funniest thing is, Tanya's working on Vanna Vines over here is working on trying to open up a bottle. And the funniest thing is, TC gave me the homework to talk to you about our next wine. So, TC, I'll let you do the work right now.
You want to do the Davis family, then the Riesling?
Well, did you?
Okay,
that's fine.
Riesling.
Let's do the Riesling last. It's a bone dry Riesling. I want to, it's like, it's Danny's the producer. So guess what, guys? I'm going to talk about the first ones, and I'm going to let Danny bring it on home because that's because it's close to your home.
It's close to your heart. Close to
home.
He
can already tell you. He wants to jump right in.
I was ready to go.
Let's throw in between the wine that someone's going to buy 16 bottles of.
Yep. And get the 17th free.
And the 17th free. And he's like, I made this do it for me. He's like, does that count for wholesalers too? Retailers. And not only that Verdicchio, don't sleep on that. This is a wine. I'm going to say it right now, guys. If you know Vanna's number, blow her up right now. We only have about a case and a half.
Yeah, 16 bottles.
I want to preface and end by saying that, but telling you, I'm going to tell you even more how delicious it is. But this is the one tonight. Excited. We're dangling the carrot. We do not have a
lot of it.
It's quite
so let's let me bring this up so you can take a little bit closer look at it. It's the Davis Family Cuvée Luke. And if you're a veteran of Virtual Vines, you go, man, Davis Family, that sounds familiar. That's because we did the dessert wine back several months ago. And we said, TC had said, hey, we're going to do this. I said, you know what? Normally I wouldn't like to do 2 wines that were plus 30 in a show. But since I was throwing 20% off on top of the discount price, I felt like I had some room to say, hey, folks, like, all right, I got you. But, we're this one's very limited. The other one is not as limited. But with that 20% off, I wanted to make sure that everybody was able to take advantage of some of these great white wines that would, again, go perfect with again, heavier foods and hold up to not just the lighter foods that we expect. And as I've been told, a lot of people go, you know what, I'm so red heavy now, I need some white wines. Well,
absolutely, yeah.
Spring's around the corner. We got
more.
You're going to start drinking them more often here. The warmer weather's coming. I think based on the groundhog, we only have 4 more weeks to go until spring. So take advantage of this pricing and the deals that we have this week. And the Davis family, does some excellent wines. I'm going to let TC talk about this one.
Yeah. Well, guys, Davis family, this quite frankly is like a simpatico relationship to a Danny and Andy, because these guys literally can only be found in independent retail, restaurant, country clubs, things like that. They're only in about 9 states. And the only reason, guys, we have this wine, a shout out to one of our reps up in Asheville. He used to do dinners, still does dinner, the Highlands Cashmere area. Beautiful area, a lot of money, a lot of great restaurants up there. Guy Davis had a pipeline. I guess knew someone, was part of the wine club, had enough sway to say, hey, you need to come out. But he said, well, I can't sell the wine. I got to have with ABC law, I have to have a distributor. Well, the particular restaurant had a really good relationship with the Tryon rep. Fast forward, basically we carry the Davis family. And so when Guy comes to town, he always kind of talks. He's like, man, I'm so glad I come to North Carolina now, because, it really wasn't on our radar. We only make about 6,000 cases for about 12 wines. So, you guys do the math, not a lot of wines, usually between 200 to 400 cases per wine. But really, really, really fun stuff. So Guy Davis is a really fun guy, super West Coast kind of dude. He's got the soul patch. He actually has a line called Soul Patch, but he's got his little soul patch there. And he's a lot of, hey man, kind of like, just very, very California, Anyway, so he wanted to find amongst, he says, the 40 other things, but most important, a vineyard. When him and his wife started looking for space to plant, about 25 years ago now, was a vineyard to be organic, and they wanted it to be as west in Sonoma at the time in Russian River as possible. So definitely one of the cooler spots. Definitely gets more of the influence from the Pacific Ocean versus some of the warmer spots there in Russian River that is known for even Syrah and Zinfandel. But it was an abandoned vineyard that hadn't been basically pruned or farmed for over 20 years, that had about 22 acres of Zinfandel that was planted in the 1890s. But he said, at first you're like, oh God, I'll go ahead and buy that. But he said the brush was about 15 foot high. Because he said nobody had been out there in 20 years. So, and vines will still go. They're a very resilient species. I think is the biological term is invasive, right? So vines, they'll find a way, they'll crawl up on stuff. So he said after they cut through all the brush, had to train the vines, cut some of the vines out. He said they were able to start producing. He said it took them about 3 years, because he said it was so overgrown. But the vine started producing fruit about 2 tons an acre a couple years ago. This was in 1997. So over time, about 30 acres, in addition to a few other tucked away small sites, like up in Rock Pile, which he makes some great Cabernet, and in some other spots on the Sonoma coast, he makes some fun, interesting, mostly Pinot Noir driven, but also white wines. This is a fun project that's close to his heart. He only makes about 200, 300 cases of this wine. It's called Cuvée Luc. It's named after his eldest grandchild. And when Guy was in college, he did a stint in France, and that's what got him into wine. And he did a vintage in the Rhone Valley, and he loves Rhone Valley wines, Châteauneuf-du-Pape, but he loves Rhone Valley whites. Well, guess what? We've talked about on the show, Rhone Valley whites are like the Great White Buffalo. They just don't exist in the Rhone Valley. Well, even more so in California, to find a Roussanne blended in with Marsanne, blended in with Viognier, sort of a true Rhone style, Châteauneuf-du-Pape style blend in California, when he did it at the time, really didn't exist. A few wineries were doing it, but nothing where they were in Sonoma and Russian River. So as Guy wants to do with this wine, there's, as I said, there's no malolactic fermentation, there's no oak. So for you watching, you're like, guys, wintertime white. How do you guys think this is a wintertime white? First off, the Marsanne and Viognier, which are a bit later ripening, which generally have a bit richer flavor, a bit thicker skins as they were. They whole cluster ferment and press those. The Roussan, what he does with that, it's very interesting. He actually lets that do a native yeast, a very slow fermentation, and it takes up to 30 days. Once the native yeast gets inoculated to the grapes and starts fermenting, he'll cool the tanks very slowly all the way down to 50 degrees. Now, this is about as cold as you can get it with fermentation still going on. And what he wants to do with that is coax every nuance of the esters and anthocyanins and all that richness off that Roussan grape without having to manipulate with oak barrels in secondary fermentation. So for you guys that go, TC, I've tried every white wine under the book. I either hate them or I've tried the oaky stuff, and oak, all I try is oak. Well, this is the answer for you guys. This is rich. This has this like white honeysuckle, like crystallized ginger thing going on to it. Fun wine, guys. I love this wine with like snapper, maybe some calamari, maybe throw some hush puppies in there, something fried, because it's got something rich. That richness can cut right through it. Butter. Hey, if you got a special on lobster at your local store, every now and then, my wife always keeps up to our local stores, and we'll buy, some crab legs or lobster. Anything. What I'm trying to say is butter. Anything that you need an excuse to eat a lot of butter, this would be wine to do it with. But again, without having to pepper it, and I use the word pepper intentionally because again, oak is like seasoning. All you try is oak. To me, it's like seasoning. It's too much. It's too much.
TC, I'm going to go outside the box. I'm going outside the box.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
We've already talked about flaming hot Cheetos already, right?
Have breakfast for dinner.
There you go.
Make some pancakes. Throw some butter on it. Drink some of this wine.
Or I would go ahead and say, because I'm a Nice's guy. After you fry up the Nice's, a little bit of flour, broth, bring that down, make a little gravy on top of some biscuits.
Yep.
Gravy,
this
biscuits.
Wine. So we're flipping the table here. We can tell you this goes great with seafood, as it should go great with seafood. But we're flipping the script and telling you to eat breakfast for dinner and drink this wine with it, and you'd be so happy.
Make you some home fries with onions, rosemary in there.
Yes.
And herbs of Provence. Again, like with like, so when I think of Rhone varietals, I think of those herbs of Provence and rosemary, which is one of my favorite. Rosemary and thyme are probably my two favorite. I think of that with this particular one. Pork dishes. I mean, again, guys, I could even do this with fajita. I mean, I would throw this kebabs, maybe some lamb or some some tri-tips with some peppers, the onion, red onion, some paella. I mean, it's so versatile. And not only is this a great wintertime white, I think for some of you are going to be sad, unfortunately, because again, we don't get a lot of this wine.
It's looking like I got 15 bottles. 15 bottles left.
If you know a guy that knows a guy that would love this wine.
Michelle already said she wants one, so we're down to 15 bottles.
Yeah, there you go.
Great price on this, 20% off.
And I know we've done Viognier in the past, but again, think about California. I mean, even other suppliers that you have. Roussan, Marsanne, Viognier blended, small production from Russian River Valley. That's less than 200 cases produced for under $30. Go. It's just that's just so hard to find. I know that's not $30 for white. Sometimes, as Danny said, is not. But hey, for what this wine is, again, you can check the website. Danny has. You're getting a deal plus the 20%.
Plus, you're getting 20% with winter 20 at checkout. Michelle said, "Why drink it? Why make it dinner? Drink it with breakfast." I'm with you. You know what? You drink mimosas and Bloody Marys with breakfast. Why not drink a beautiful white wine?
And I guess before COVID, I guess they extended on Sundays. You can drink at 10 instead of 12. Years it used to be 12 o'clock. And growing up bartending, working Sunday shifts up at different places. I remember many moons ago up in Blowing Rock where I was working and getting the bar ready, and this guy comes and sits at the bar next to his friend. I guess they had a wedding the night before, and he orders 3 Bloody Marys and a shot of Jack and a beer, a whole thing. And the guy looks over to him. He's like, "Damn, man, how can you start this early?" And he looks over and he goes, "Who stopped?" It's the best answer ever without even batting an eye. Of course, I had to say, "Hey, man, I get you a cup of coffee and I can really make you look at all my ingredients for 45 minutes. It's a rule. I didn't make it, but it is what it is." But I thought that was the best answer. So for any of you who say, "Hey, is it too early to drink?" You say, "Hey, who stopped?" Right? So
and Jennifer's like, "You're right. You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning."
That is true, before noon, right? So.
That's a check. Thanks for that comment. So this is a great wine. Again, I'm down to 15 bottles. Make sure you throw it in your cart and get this, because this is really good.
Lovely, layered, wines. You
Which it
know,
makes me feel like I need to have my pinky out when like rich in taste.
It does.
Not
It
in
does.
price.
Well, and guys, I mean, you know, and I would honestly, for some lighter reds out there, Pinot Noirs and Beaujolais, in terms of the body, this almost has more body than some lighter reds out there. I mean, there are some light reds out there, or some super light Pinot Noirs that, you know, I'd almost say this has more going on and kind of more body and more lingering effect. So again, you know, Viognier was one of the first white wines many moons ago I fell in love with. I love the Rhone Valley. I love Guy Davis. For those of you that get a chance, please get a chance to go visit him. It's a true family-owned affair. His both of his kids are yeah, there you go. Both of his sons
I'll put up there so everybody can see, TC.
Yeah, there you go. And as you guys can see, it's a very modest-looking endeavor. I mean, you know, Guy Davis. I mean, you know, this guy is all about the grapes. He's all about making the best wine possible. And the Zinfandel, by the way, we may need to do a Zinfandel tasting at some point. You know, this only 106 Zinfandel vines as well. So, but again, a very modest place. You can get some tacos. Get you a cheese plate from a local, you know, Whole Foods and go sit down and enjoy some wine. So again, a beautiful family-owned affair. Guy, when he comes to town, he's all about local restaurants, doing stuff with local chefs, people like Andy, Danny, Vanna. That's his bread and butter, and that's kind of what he goes for. And even times of COVID, when things retract, you know, again, we try to pick up a little bit of the slack. But again, you make small enough of wine, again, you're mostly direct to consumer, but the rest of it, you know, he can say, hey, Danny and TC, I appreciate the extra a case or two on a Monday night in February. So anyway, a wine that you're anxious about and brand new to the market.
Yes. I guess I gotta open this up. And part of the reason that TC said, hey, take over here for a second, as many of you might know or might not know, I'm from New York originally, and
Hudson Valley, right?
In the Hudson Valley, but a lot of wine down in the Hudson Valley. Actually, Vineyard Number 1 is in New York State. Vineyard Number 1 is actually
which is probably the oldest in the country, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Isn't it the oldest in the country in New York?
Yes, yeah. So wine grapes started being grown as soon as settlers started growing grapes. I mean, it like 1640s, and the Dutch were making wine. And New York really, for the longest period, was the wine capital of the world. I mean, you got to think until we went west in the 1840s, California wasn't even on the winemaking map. So you got to look at how the winemaking map kind of moved across the country from the 1600s all the way over until the 1840s of California gold rush and people getting out to California. And so we move across the country making wine and growing grapes. But New York specifically, because of a certain area really, really grows amazing grapes. And that is the Finger Lakes. And I'm going to actually kind of put up a map here, TC, over you for a second. So the Finger Lakes is an amazing wine region. These are all the wineries that you can go visit in the Finger Lake area, which is incredible. A lot of Ubering, and literally they're all next door to each other. I bet you could probably take boats because they all have docks. I bet you there is a wine boat cruise.
You just kind of go by, like, you know, you're
just going there.
Just go by and get wine.
And so you have this amazing region because it almost acts like Napa and Sonoma, is because these lakes are sitting there, but everything's up on hills. Right? So you have the cool air able to come in at night. You have the hot air during the day, and then you have the grapes are able to rest. Now, most of the wines made in this region up until the 1860s was for farmer production. It was for farm to table. People were eating it, mostly Niagara grapes for consumption. Right after the Civil War, you start getting these wineries, popping up amongst the producers because they had to start competing with other grape growers. Specifically, when you start getting to the 1860s and 1870s, now you had to compete with California and California grapes in the market. Because
West, like Ohio, Kentucky.
Yeah, Ohio, Kentucky weren't really competing. But what happens is pre-Civil War, all these growers would grow grapes. They would get them down to get on the lake, would take them down the lake to the train station, and then by train it would go to all the metropolitan areas. So that's why grapes were very much a big part of this area all along, because they grew really, really well along the banks of these lakes. Specifically, what we're talking about is a much newer winery. In some of these that you can go visit there, still have vines that are 165 years old. They just feel like they should have those vines around. They don't get huge yields off of them, but they tend to do this. But Hermann Weimer is the winery. Hermann J. Weimer is the winery. And this is a long-held German winemaking family, making wine in Germany 400 years before they came to America. And really, what got them to even start moving towards America is that they were grafting Riesling onto American rootstock. And so that was really what got them interested in coming to America. Now, that didn't happen until the late 60s when they came over and got some property and searched, because they wanted something that was very similar to Mosel, where they were growing Riesling already, and they found it. The soil here is very rocky and creating that same kind of soil that you find in Germany. And so they found the perfect property and started making German varietals, and specifically Riesling. And focusing on not just your more sweeter Rieslings, but also dry Rieslings, Gewürztraminers, Grüner Veltliner, and sparkling wine. They're doing everything that.
I mean, you'd almost think probably the parallel. It's probably what equal to the Rhine or right there, right?
It's going to be pretty close.
You said. You got the Rhine River, so you got kind of acts like the Finger Lakes right to it. So,
acts like the Finger Lakes. So what you get here is a dry Riesling from a family that's been doing this now since the 60s. So you got a 50-year-old winery here making traditional German Riesling, and really up until I think 2011, Herman was actually still working the vineyards. He's not working the vineyards anymore. He now, his apprentice now is working the vineyards as he's kind of sold part of the winery portion over to them. And but beautiful winery to go visit. This is if you haven't gone to the Finger Lakes region, it's a lot of fun. Yes, you're going to end up having a lot of sweeter wines along your tour up there, but
there's probably a lot of the naysayers. There's probably a lot of wineries that are making some BS wine. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But for every one of these guys, I mean, there's a lot of guys making some really class act stuff. Let's be honest. There's some tour bus vineyards, right? But this is the line. This is really the former guys. I mean, I'm really happy. When we were able to pick this up, Finger Lakes, there's a lot going on up there. My wife has some family right outside of the Pennsylvania area. So whenever I'd go visit, I would always buy as much Finger Lake wine as I could, because we couldn't get it down here. Even other distributors, I'm like, what do you have? What do you have? And every now and then they would have something, but it would be with a cat on it, and it would be sweet and blue or red or something like that. And I'm like, this is probably not the best representation. And of course, you got the bigger brands that you can find like Dr. Frank and stuff. But as you saw from the map, there's hundreds of wineries there. I mean, it's crazy. And so I'm really happy because these guys really check all the boxes. Family owned. Getting the right vinifera, the right style, climate. And what I love about this wine and the smell, it's not that super new tennis shoe like Australia. It's not super zesty. What I love about it, it almost has this beautiful like undertone of like lime, kind of like a little bit of a lime skin kind of a thing going on to it. And what I love about Riesling, and I always tell people this, and I say if you want a blind taste Riesling, almost everything that most Riesling, and I'm being very general when I speak here, that it should have. It's like the margarita of wine. It's like when you go out to your favorite, Mexican place, and you take a big swig of a whatever you want to consider a traditional margarita, whether it's super fancy or super, they made it with the whatever Daly's
Yeah.
mixer, right? That kind of like that citrusy kind of flavor to it, and that agave, right? So it's like sweet with agave, and then that kind of sour too, and kind of math a little bit. So this wine is really tasty. I can't wait to try some of their other wines, their sparkling wines. But like you said, I think they're making some good stuff up there.
It's a beautiful, beautiful Riesling. For those of you that have been watching and been buying, we just did the one from Oregon, the by Northwest. Very, very much similar to this in the sense that it is a dry Riesling. You're getting nice floral notes, not over. You're not getting any really residual sugar. You're not what you expect from a Riesling.
No.
It's like, oh, it says dry Riesling. But no, it's
this is 12%, guys. I mean, this is bone dry. I mean, this is no lingering sugary after effects or anything like that. I mean, this is a bone dry Riesling. That's what I love about this. That area and producers that are making some kind of classic style wines. I mean, they're really trying to compete with those wines of the old world of Mosel and Alsace, those other areas. Love it. There's also like kind of minerally flinty kind of a
That's
thing.
what I was gonna say. Has a lot of minerality to it that you don't really expect from a Riesling, and it's there. And I think that's why Herman very much was trying to find soil that was rocky in nature to be able to grow that Riesling. And they do an amazing job.
Zest, like lime zest, orange zest. It's just all zest. It's like there's no juice or pith or anything. It's just all like squeeze or a twist, like somebody kind of did one of the fancy cocktail places that do the squeeze the orange and kind of do one of those. I kind of get that, It's just this beautiful, understated. I mean, like tangerine almost,
And one of the things you say, hey, Riesling, right? Saying Riesling in winter. This wine, I think you could pair this with a nice heavy stew, and add that contrast between that hot in your mouth and we want that refreshing finish.
Also, big cheeses. I mean, this is the charcuterie king. And certain cheeses are easier to pair than others, but what's that one cheese that's hard? Blue or Stilton, big bold flavors. Well, guess what? Riesling and Stilton and blue cheese. So I'm calling on you super funky dunky cheese lovers out there.
This will do it.
The ones that open up your fridge and you're like, damn it, what do I got to throw away? Oh, it's the cheese that is bought. This is a Riesling that will go with it. Fried foods, hot foods, schnitzels. I mean, that's a classic dish. You think about, anything from fried, and we talked about gnocchi earlier. So I mean, you've got some, fried potato of some sort.
Hey, and it's still cold, and you don't want to cook. This is going to go great with Thai and Chinese.
Yeah.
So anything that has a little
spicy mustard on top of that, there. And again, it's not the spice, but the duck sauce. You go back and forth from the duck sauce to the spicy mustard and next thing you know, the bottle's gone.
Yeah, I mean,
pork dish, chicken dish,
sushi. Add a little wasabi to it, and you're going to be ready to go. Yeah. So this is.
And again, soy sauce, bold flavor, bold wine. It needs bold flavors.
Bold flavors, and so we just really want to be able to show the dynamics of white wine in the winter, and we don't really. Look at TC's already poured. He's pouring himself more.
Yeah, man.
He's pouring himself more. So don't.
Love me some Riesling, man.
Don't miss out on that, and. Oh, I guess we lost everything here. Uh-oh.
We did?
Did I push something?
I don't know. Did I push something? I don't know. I lost two cameras.
I think we're still on.
Hopefully we're still on, and we're just down to one camera.
I think everybody still see us.
I hope so. Because okay. Well, as long as we're still on, we're going to go down to one camera.
TC's not on, but he's
it's totally fine.
We'll just do this.
Get cozy with you, and they can see him.
Yeah, we're going to get cozy here because
we need to turn the lights down, put Luther Vandross on. This is we're getting close to that 9 o'clock show.
That's how good this Riesling is.
Where that octave in the voice gets a little bit lower, if you know what I mean. If you're that person that bought 16 bottles of Cliff Lady, I'm your man. I'll bring over y'all 17th bottle.
Well, I won't be able to. I won't be able to kind of do a recap. So I'll have to do the recap over here. Actually, I can put up the banner here because I didn't even put the banner up.
The show must go on.
Show's going to go on. Everything else connects somehow.
Well, we can do
This is it. This is it. Only have 4 wines. We only doing
We
4.
want to keep it clean and concise. I mean, because we got a lot of stuff going on. I mean,
Rumbauer
Wine
coming
Club,
up,
I mean,
Wine
you know.
Club. We just had a lot going on. I want to bring it down to 4, partly because we have a lot of white wines in the shop, and I want you to be able to take advantage of the 20% discount and not give you so many new wines to choose from. So we really want you to focus on the wines that we have available, and
There's something different. A Reserve Tier Sauvignon Blanc,
yes.
a little Rhone Valley blend, a Riesling. If you've tried every Riesling under the sun, you probably haven't tried one from New York. And if you have, I mean, a really good small production, family-owned boutique winery that's branded to the market kind of checks all the boxes. So should we just show the bottle and do banners for a recap?
Yeah, we'll do a quick little banner for recap. But I will say everything with that coupon code of winter20, winter all caps at checkout. Use that. I'll put that banner up really quick so you guys can see that code one more time. That's going to get you 20% off on the site. So be sure to use that. But if you want to come in the shop today or tomorrow through Thursday, pull something off the shelf, I will do, as long as it's to go. You can't drink it there. Cannot drink it there. As long as it's to go.
We're looking at you. You know who you are.
Can't drink it there. You got to take it to go. You'll get your 20% off. So let's go through, recap some of these wines. We started off with a little Verdicchio.
You see that?
I'll get it up there a little closer.
Yeah. From Castello de Jesse,
Yep.
guys, a little Kermy item from the Marque. Beautiful wine. Make sure you jump on this, guys. $18 marked down. A beautiful, interesting varietal, kind of this almondine kind of a thing. I love that with like a little panko crust whitefish of some sort with just kind of sear that and just gobs of butter. With like some saffron or like some thyme or something like that. I know we just need to. Or whatever on cooking shows.
We're gonna have to start cooking during the show. I then move us to the kitchen so everybody can eat while we do this. Then we went to the Cliff Lede.
Reserve Tier Sauvignon Blanc, guys, and we're not afraid to say that. I mean,
it is a Reserve Tier Sauvignon Blanc.
I mean, go ahead and look at their reds. I mean, if that's any indication, but beautiful, beautiful wine. Guys, Michel Rolland, Philippe Melka, David Abreu, these guys are, really the who's who in Napa Valley right now. We don't get a lot of their Sauvignon Blanc. Bit of Semillon in it, so again, not your grandmother's Sauvignon Blanc, not your mother's Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, as we say. So beautiful ones.
Beautiful Sauvignon
Blanc. And a beautiful deal on that one.
And again, you're getting that down from 35 to 33 plus 20%, which beats the internet at that price. It beats the internet at that price. Do not sleep on that wine. It's so good. Then we went to the Frank family. Davis family. Frank family. I think Scott caught me earlier for saying Frank family. Davis family vineyards. This is the Cuvée Luc from the Russian River Valley.
The Rhone White Blend.
Yeah. Roussanne and Marsanne Viognier.
Unctuousness,
Drinks
capital
so
U.
good.
Don't ask me to spell it, but definitely I will drink it. That is a beautiful wine, guys. I mean, so don't have a lot of that one to be had, but please make sure you jump on that wine.
15 bottles left. That's it. Michelle already called one of those, so throw that in your cart. Again, remember, use winter20 at checkout to save yourself 20% on that bottle. Again, getting these things under 20 is a deal. Getting them under 30, getting them around 30 is a deal. Getting them under 20 is a crazy deal. So don't miss out. Don't sleep on that. And then we finished up Little Finger Lake wine from Herman Weimer. This is a beautiful dry Riesling, way Riesling is supposed to be in my book. Now I know some people like sweeter Riesling. I like sweeter Rieslings, especially during the summer, because sometimes I just want a little bit of sweetness to, because I wanted to drink like a 7-Up at a certain point, right? I want to just be able to go, cool, I'm going to pound this bottle. But
lemon lime zest with a little sweetness, guys. That's what it's about. That's what that wine is right there.
But during the winter, I want a drier Riesling. I want to pair it with some fun stuff. And again, I think this holds up to anything spicy, anything, any fish that you're going to do, like Thai, take out Chinese. Just go for it and grab a bottle of this. And at the price point of where did I put it right here? 24 plus your 20% off. What a great deal on this beautiful dry Riesling. So take advantage of it. Take advantage, shop, scroll through the website as well. Grab 20% off on any of those other wines that are up there. I want to talk about next week. We're doing Portuguese wine, so Virtual Vines, Portugal. We're going to focus on some fun growing regions there in Portugal. Not only have a featured port, so that should make Scott happy, but we'll also probably be hitting some other fun areas and regions inside Portugal. And they make amazing wine, so don't sleep on these. You're going to really, really enjoy them. Also, if you're not signed up for it, do that tonight. Sign up for the Rombauer wine tasting. It's $25 for non-members, $22 for members, where it'll get you a tasting kit of 5 wines. It's going to be the Sauvignon Blanc, the Chardonnay, the Merlot, the Zin, and the Cab. We have Charlotte Devers joining us from Rombauer, and TC will be on as well. And we're going to talk about these amazing, amazing wines, and it's a fun time. So don't miss out. And that's going to be a lot of fun on Thursday. Tasting kits will be available at 2 o'clock that day. So starting at 2, you can pick up a tasting kit, and then you'll get your Zoom link, both emailed prior and then also printed versions for you to type in as well if you lost the email. And that will start at 7:30 on Thursday. Also, any wines ordered from tonight will be available for pickup at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. 4 o'clock on Wednesday from anything ordered tonight. So come by and see us on Wednesday. I would say that some of these bottles will be available to taste, but I don't know. Maybe.
It's
I don't know.
birthday Eve. So
Birthday Eve. Tanya's birthday tomorrow. So there's no guarantee. She could be going
I'll
wild.
try to save you.
Party animal tonight. And I did get asked right now here, baby update.
Friday.
They're holding out to Friday. I think Friday, Saturday.
She's to be induced on Friday.
Yeah,
so
so there you go. So Andy, Dad, again, sometime soon. We don't know when, but who knows? Worst case scenario, it's Friday. Could be earlier. We're prepared for it, and so the baby grape will be coming soon. Stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember to use that coupon code at checkout of Winter 20. Get that 20% off all the white wines tonight in the shop, online as well as in the shop over the next couple of days. If you're taking it to go, we'll give you the 20%. So don't miss out on that. Rombauer, TC.
Guys, great white wines tonight. Danny, thank you so much. And for Vanna, had to take the dogs out. For Danny, for Andy, the little one, we're tasting for you, man. I mean, hey, yep. So somebody's got to do it. So for everybody, keep on tasting Rombauer this week and Portuguese. A little
next Monday.
A little Vasco da Gama next week. So guys, tune in.